what's going on? Welcome to another episode of The Way I See It. My name is Chris. So today, we got a good little show here. I've been actually did a little bit of a search for something to get put together for like right now. And I know if a lot of people are looking for ideas to work remotely, I go out, putting together, I think I have about 11. I have 11. So I have 11 different apps that you can probably use to make your life and remote world better. So that's what we're going to talk about today. So what are some of the apps you're going to be using? Well, some of the apps I'm talking about are apps that you can use to build your business if you're trying to grow it, because this is like an entrepreneur, YouTube channel, podcasts, Twitter, it's all the things. So what I want to basically talk to you about is that there's some apps that are really cool that help you get work done, and a lot of these are some that I actually worked with personally, and there's some that I actually was recommended for, but I didn't really have the idea of using it on my own. So we're going to talk about it right now. So the first one we're going to talk about is if you are working remotely, you might want to have time zone converter. So the time zone converter basically lets you calculate the time for your teammates. So like if you're using some sort of like Google Invite or something like that, where the time is set up, you can always quickly check the time and share that link with the person, so they'll be able to find out what time zone you're in. So for instance, I'm in the Eastern Standard Time Zone, so that's UTC 5. And because I work remotely most of the time, I have to know that. So that's one thing I want to talk about. So the second one is called flow state. Now, if you are really have a hard time trying to get into the flow of like your work, flow state is pretty cool because it basically emails you 2 hours of like free music for focusing every day. Now, like I said about my other video, morning rituals, you need to have like some sort of like path that you do every day that your mind can use to get yourself into this state of flow so you can get work done. One thing that you really want to do is that if you're going to go ahead and have an emails, you want to maybe have that come into your email box so you can start doing your work. And one for me personally, I actually use YouTube. I have a couple of lists of music I listen to, and the thing about it is that I use those music so often that I know at certain parts of the song that I'm playing that I can tell that I have to hurry up, or how much time I actually have left. Whoops, dropped the paper there. So the next thing is we're gonna talk about is CrispMac, which is an app that allows you to kind of drown out the background during your calls. So like if you have like a lot of noise inside your background, the background noise will be muted, so that way you can have a much more crisper phone call. So I definitely would try that out. I haven't necessarily tried it out personally, but I have like downloaded it and played around with it. I mean, it sounds like it's a pretty good app to kind of work on. I mean, I think that I would have to go to outside and try to maybe I'll do a podcast while I use it, and then be able to hear myself talking, and probably be able to to see if people can hear me or how well it is or whatnot. Let me speed it up right now. So we have 1, 2, 3. Oh, Google Drive. Definitely telling you, Google Drive is the best app that you can have. One thing about it, it's a cloud platform application that allows you to basically save your files, like your video, spreadsheets, links. You can write papers all in the cloud, and it gets saved, and it also will sync to all your devices. One thing I like about the cloud applications like that is that it's free, and it also links with your email address. So if you have an email address, you get a free, I think 5 gigabytes, 10 gigabytes. Don't count me on that. I think it's about 10 gigabytes of free space, or 15. And you can always put more for like $1 or $2. Very similar to iCloud, very similar to Evernote. Evernote is another one we could talk about. Well, Evernote, the difference between Evernote and Google Drive is that Evernote has more of a cohesive application that you can use on your desktop. So I use Evernote to scan all of my documents. Whenever I get whenever I get mail in the actual physical mail, I quickly grab all my mail, open them up, like take out some of the documents, the correspondence, and then just scan them in utilizing one of Evernote's Prime. They have like a scanner that I have, like it's called a Fujitsu scanner, and it's really nice because one thing about it is that you can actually search that document. So for instance, like I would get parking tickets on sometimes, and I would scan them in, and then I could go in and search my license plate number, and then be able to return all of the documents that have my license plate number on it. So that's not just the documents that I actually have, like from the ticket, but also DMV papers or insurance, whatever the case may be. And it also will sort them by date and time and stuff like that. You can have them in thumbnails. It's really nice. I also like it because it also detects handwriting too. So if you write, I write very legibly on average. So if I don't know how bad your handwriting might be, but for me, it's pretty good. It works pretty accurate. I can write on a document, and it can detect different types. You can even copy paste numbers off of a document that you scanned it in, and then type and paste it into a text message or something like that. It also takes pictures of your business cards and will upload them to your contacts. So Evernote is pretty much a very good app for that. I think that it's just great when you're also trying to, if you're really good about organization like me, that's great. I definitely love that. All right, so we have that. We have Rizzo. We have Hunter. There's Google Drive. I think it's called Slido, Slido. This is an app that I haven't really tried out. Personally, I only had it once for we had one of my contract gigs I had where we used Slido. It kind of like makes the meetings like more interactive. For instance, like you can add quizzes in the meeting about different things that's going on. You can add polling, and then people can add that information to you and kind of figure out whether or not people are understanding what's going on and keep people engaged. So I think that's the one app I might try out. The only thing about it is that I don't know about using it completely remotely. Like I was working on site, and we used that, so we were able to see not just our team, but we had another team that was in another country, two different countries, and we were all together. So that was actually a pretty good idea for that. Let me see now. Okay, so the second one is Tandem. It's the seventh one. It's a virtual office for remote and distributed teams. It pretty much has like a chat feature into it, and you can kind of like have an idea like you're working in an office because people are like in like different rooms and stuff like that. I haven't really tried this one out. It was one of those apps that was recommended to me. And Loom, which is like, it's pretty much like another one of those apps. It's Slack, but with videos. So like instead of you going ahead and people leaving just text, you can leave videos. I like that. I'm really big on interacting with a video of like what's going on, how I'm actually feeling about certain things. And I feel like this is something that will probably get better with time. People can become more popular at using things like that because text can only go so far. I feel like text becomes less and less important, and videos like these are much more valuable. So I think Loom is going to be pretty much something I might look into. And Cascade, which is Cascade.com. Now I haven't really tried this one out, but it's pretty much another application for remote jobs. As you can go ahead and you can check that one out if you wanted to go ahead and see that. And then you have CoScreen, which is pretty much exactly what you basically mean. It's like a screen video streaming, like video chat, but you can like share your screens with multiple people. And it's not one of those other apps I have to go ahead and I recommend that one because I actually found that one out when I was searching for apps on Product Hunt. So I definitely would try that out. And with that being said, I think that also if you're looking for hunter.co, that's HUNTR.co, that is pretty much like a task management site. It's a big, like it's a gigantic to-do list that has APIs to that you can use to search for jobs on different platforms, and then it allows you to go to these apps, apply for the jobs, and then you can keep track with this drag and drop section of columns, like applications that you want, like a wish list applications, jobs that you actually applied for, interview schedules, whether you're rejected or not. And it keeps you accountable every day on the places that you're actually keeping track of, because pen and paper and stuff like that is not always great. I've used it. It's kind of like a very new thing. It doesn't necessarily, meaning that I think that a lot of people who are geared towards it was first started with like people with like software engineering, data analysts, data project managers, but it's moving more towards all types of jobs. So I would definitely check that out as well. Basically gonna be it. I think that's gonna be all of them right now. 10, 2, 0, 0, yeah. So thanks for listening. I think that one thing I basically will talk about is what do you call it again? This book is called Virtual Freedom, which is basically a book by Chris Ducker. It's one of the old books I actually looked at. I checked. I actually read the actual Kindle app book, and one thing about it is that he's like an entrepreneur who believes that you can become like the virtual CEO, and he spends a lot of time trying to get people to understand that they can kind of have a life where they're building their business remotely. They can probably live in one remote area and then like run an entire company remotely. He talks about all of the steps you need to do. How do you find clients? Not really how you find clients. How do you run your business? How do you train people? And there's a few other people I actually know that have used their services that actually are successful with it. And I'll leave links in I'll leave links in the description wherever this video is, because I've been using his stuff for a while. He has another book called Rise of the Youpreneur, and Chris Ducker kind of talks about finding virtual assistants, becoming comfortable with them, and how you can I think what he does is right now is that he actually has a company in the Philippines where he trains people he trains them physically. He physically like trains them one-on-one. He's not remote with them, and helps them to become really good employees for different people over the country. And I think that some companies may like to have that, because I don't know, like people are a little bit afraid about having like just like some random person doing stuff for them. For me, I have worked with virtual assistants on like the platforms like Fiverr, Upwork, Online Jobs, and I think that those type of like it's a sink or swim, but there's a ways I've used to get people to do certain things. For instance, I would create a WordPress client to have people take documents that I written by hand, to type them up, and then to use it, and they actually will like basically do data entry with a system that I've actually created that doesn't necessarily allow them to have access to like my actual database. All they can do is just upload and interact with what they've done, So there's 1,000 different ways that you can actually get a business running without having to worry too much about thefts or security breaches and stuff like that. But one thing that I think is important is that if you can get, as a group of people together to help manage these things here in like maybe one specific place and another place where the people will be working, and have a friendship, also being kind to people and being able to understand that everybody is different, meaning that everybody doesn't necessarily think the same exact way. Some people are just looking for a job too, and they don't care about your business. So you got to play into account of that. Also, paying price is also pretty good. There's a going price for different people. It's relatively different now than maybe it was a couple of years back. But I definitely will look into these things. I mean, that wasn't for this episode at all. This episode was pretty much for using remote applications, and finding the right applications is great because you want to make sure that they're also convenient for your employees if you're going to be having employees, working remotely. So that's all for today, and see you guys in the next video.